This is Chapter 7.1, Percents. Here are the key concepts. Please get these copied into your notes and replay me when you're ready for an explanation. Okay, so here we've got key concepts is a percent is a part-to-whole ratio that compares a number to 100. Now that's really important, that 100 number. If we look at the word percent, we have this word cent in here. Now think of the words that you know that contain the word cent. Well, an actual cent, a penny, we have 100 pennies in a dollar. The word century, we have 100 years in a century. And let's see, a centimeter, we have 100 centimeters in a meter. All of those are using the word cent. So percent means per 100. So, for example, we've got 80%, or we could have 80 out of 100, or 80 over 100. All of those per 100, okay? Sometimes a percent can be less than 1, or greater than 100%. When we're trying to write fractions as percent, we are going to write an equivalent fraction with a denominator of, you guessed it, 100. If the denominator is not an easy factor of 100, we're going to set up a proportion, writing our fractions as percents by using a proportion. We just learned all about how to write proportions in Chapter 6 and with our building projects. Okay, here's our first example. I do this one. This one says, write each percent as a fraction in simplest form. So this says 60%. Now I've got that percent. What does that word percent mean? Per 100, right? So I'm going to write this 60 over 100. Now I'm going to reduce this, so I'm going to divide the top by, let's say, 10. And I'll have that as 6 over 10. We're going to divide that even further by 2. And we get to be 3/5. So this fraction, or this percent as a fraction, is 3 over 5. Okay, so now here's another I do. This is 12.5%. Percent means per 100. So this is going to be 12.5 over 100. Okay, so now I have 12.5 over 100. Now you can't give me my final answer with a fraction and a fraction. So how do I make this into a fraction in simplest form? Well, I can rewrite this as 12.5 divided by 100. And we remember back from, I guess, November or December when we had that chapter on fractions. How do I divide fractions? Well, first of all, I need to make this first number, 12.5, improper fraction, so I'm going to make that 25 over 2 divided by 100 over 1. Now when I divide fractions, I'm going to keep, change, flip. So then I can cross simplify here, and let's see, this goes to 1, this goes to 4, and so this fraction multiplying straight across is 1, and 2 times 4 is 8. So 12.5% is 1 over 8. All right, now you try this one. Do this one as best you can. Replay me when you're ready for the answer. So 40% is 40 over 100. We're going to reduce that, and 40% reduced is 2 over 5. All right, here is another you do. Try this one as best you can and replay me when you're ready for the answer. So this one is a little special because we have a fraction involved with a fraction. And so when I rewrite this, I need to write 20 3/4 divided by 100. And 20 3/4 can be written as an improper as 83 over 4 divided by 100 over 1. I'm going to keep, change, flip. And now, can I cross simplify at all? No, so I'm just going to multiply straight across, and this is going to be 83 over 400. Okay, now, this one is a little bit different from the ones we saw prior because this is 0.8%. So that percent word, okay, per 100, we're still going to write 0.8 over 100. Now the difference between this one and the ones before was this one has a decimal over a fraction. So I can't have that. So how do I get rid of that decimal? Well, you remember a decimal, after the decimal we've got tenths, then we've got, hundredths, and thousands, and so on. So in order to get rid of this first decimal place, I'm going to multiply by 10. And what I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. So this is now going to be 8 over 1,000. Now that I have it like this, I can reduce this fraction and divide both the top and bottom by, we could start off with 2, 8, or 4. And we get 1 over 125. If you divide the top and bottom by 8. Okay, now this one is greater than 100. However, we're still having this percent sign. This percent means per 100. So this is going to be 175 over 100. And we're going to reduce this fraction. We can divide the top and bottom by 25. And how many 25s can fit into 175? And that's 7. And how many 25s can fit in 100? That is 4. So we've got this fraction of 7 over 4. If you'd like to write that as an improper fraction, mixed number, you can write that as 1 3/4. Okay, you do this one. This one is a decimal, so remember what you have to do with a decimal. And when you're ready for the answer, go ahead and replay me. So first of all, we want to write 0.2 over 100. That's always our first step. But we have this decimal, so I have to multiply by 10 to the top and bottom. And so this now becomes 2 over 1,000. And when I reduce this, this is going to be 1 over 500. All right, you do this one. We have 150 over 100. And we're going to reduce the top and bottom by, we could say, 50. So if I divide 150 by 50, we get 3, and 100 by 50, we get 2. So my final answer is 3/2. Okay, now my directions are changing. This says to write the fraction as a percent. So my final answer is going to be written as a percent. Okay, remember what the word percent means per 100. And if we look at the sign of percent, it's kind of a weird looking, this kind of looks like a 1 here, 1 and 2 zeros. So it's kind of like a 100, sort of, I guess if you look at it weird. So we're going to write this 1 over 4 equals something over 100. Now this is a pretty easy one because I can look at this and say, ask myself, what can I multiply by 4 to get to 100? Well, if I multiply by 25, what I do to the bottom I have to do to the top, I'm going to get 25 over 100. Now before in the examples, if I had something over 100, what did that mean? Percent, right? So I'm going to rewrite this as 25%. Okay, here's another one that I will do. We have 6/5 equals something over 100. Now what can I multiply by 5 to get to 100? Well, if I multiply the top and bottom by 20, I get 5 times 20 is 100, and 6 times 20 is 120. Now I have 120 over 100, so I can rewrite that as a percent as 120%. All right, you try this one. Make sure you're writing this fraction as a percent, so your final answer should have a percent sign. Try the best you can and replay me when you're ready for the answer. Okay, so we've got 3 over 10, And I'm trying to write this as something over 100. So what am I going to multiply by 10 to get to 100? Well, I can multiply by 10 to the top and bottom. And so that's 30 over 100, which is 30%. All right, you do this one. Write a fraction as a percent. So we're going to write 7 over 2 equals something over 100. So what do you multiply by 2 to get to 100? Well, you have to multiply 50. So we're going to multiply 50 on the top and bottom. So that is going to be 350, which is also 350%. Don't forget to write your fraction as a percent. That means that needs to have a percent sign. Okay, here now we're going to get a little bit more difficult, and here we're going to have to set up our proportions. Okay, so it says on her science quiz, Jacinda got 14 questions correct out of 16. Find Jacinda's grade as a percent. So first of all, she got 14 out of 16 correct. And we're trying to find this as a percent. Well, we know that the percent is going to be 100, right? But I don't know what that's going to be. In this right here, if I look at 16 and I look at this 100, is there something that's going to be really easy to multiply by 16 to get to 100? Not necessarily. So I have to put this x up here and do my cross multiplying. So I get 1400 equals 16x, divide by 16 on both sides, and 1400 divided by 16 is 87.5 equals x. And now we said that this was x right here. And so if I replace that with 87.5, isn't that 87.5 over 100? So I can write my final answer as 87.5%. All right, you try this one. Write this as a percent. Caitlin has practiced playing piano 5 out of the last 8 days. What percent is this? Okay, try the best you can and replay me when you're ready for the answer. So we get 5 out of 8 equals something over 100. So I'm going to cross simplify. I get 8x equals 500. Divide by 8 on both sides. And 500 divided by 8 is 62.5. And it's asking me as a percent, and I know that it's being written over 100, so I can say 62.5% as my final answer. Okay, and here are your practice problems. So go ahead and, try to make them a little bit bigger for you guys. Try these the best you can. We'll go over them next time we see each other. Good luck.